Hi everyone, good morning. It's Tony. Before I start the video, like always, if you guys can give me a like, subscribe, and comment, it always helps out the channel. Um, ugh. And if you guys have any tickers that you guys want me to talk about, any stocks that you guys want me to do TA on, please feel to drop them below on the comments. I think today I'm going to be looking at Pepsi and I'm going to be looking at Tesla again, which were the recent requests that I saw in my YouTube comments. And obviously there haven't been a lot of requests because I haven't posted in like 5 or 6 days because of over the weekend and New Year's and stuff. But if you guys want to CTA, feel free to drop feel free to drop the comment below. I'm also gonna be doing. I know I used to do a lot of news and everything and stuff, so I'll definitely do that again. Also, there's a new crypto called Bonk that's really cool. And I actually think I have like this gut feeling, the same gut feeling that I have for Doggy and Shiba, that this thing's gonna moon like crazy. I mean, from open, I think it's up like 20x or something, which is absolutely ridiculous from its open price. I do think it's gonna drop down. So I'm just gonna chill, but I do think that might be my next fool's insurance for crypto and just holding that like longer term because I think Bonk is definitely gonna be up in that Doggy Shiba tier level. I personally think it is. So we'll start talking about that a little bit later. And yeah, with that being said, let's get into the video. As of right now, like I said in my last video, I'm still bullish, man. Not really sure how else to put this. I'm still pretty bullish on the whole on the market. It just this time feels a little bit different, right? And reason being is that I for some reason, right? I've been bearish in all these drops, right? I was bearish here to make this easier for you guys, right? So I was bearish here, right? I was bearish here, and I was bearish here, right? And I'm not as bearish in that top drop right there. And let me tell you why. It's because honestly, it's because all of retail is bearish, and I've seen so many YouTube videos and so many people talking about like this particular drop, right? Like everybody disagreed with me, right? Here, everybody disagreed. Here, everybody disagreed. Here, when I sold my whole portfolio, everybody disagreed, and then we tanked all the way down to new lows, right? So, but this time, right? Everybody agrees with me, right? Everybody on this trend, everybody was like, yo, this is gonna sell off. It's gonna go all the way down to like, here and stuff. And that's what I initially thought too. I'm like, hey, this thing looks like it's gonna drop extremely hard, right? This thing looks like it's gonna keep dropping and it's gonna keep going to newer lows. While TA is there, right? While there is divergence and I should 100% take this play every single time, what kept me from basically taking this trade setup was, it was the fact that everybody kind of agreed with me, right? I had everybody in my comments, everybody in Patreon, everybody, all the YouTube videos, everybody called this dump from here to here, which made me kind of sus, right? It was funky. I didn't like the fact that everybody was saying, "Oh yeah, this thing's gonna drop hard," blah blah blah, this and that. I thought it was. I worried a little bit, right? I worried a little bit. I think that personally right now we are, at a bottom and we're gonna retrace, like I said, probably to like I think like a 400 right now, like a 400 or so, maybe wick up a little bit. But I think we might have found a bottom, right? And I think for the most part we might do this might actually be, like what is it called? This might actually be like some sort of, let me see if I can do this right. Trying to get this. There you go. So I think this might actually be the push that we're looking for, right? And seeing how this is working out like this, I'm still thinking that you might see something like this, right? You might retest and then you might do something like that next year, right? So I'm kind of thinking this might happen next year where you actually have, on the weekly, you have obviously this break of trend here, but then you have this crazy retest, right? Somewhere around this range, and we might actually go back to like 430 or so, and then drop all the way down. That's what I'm kind of looking for right now. That's what I'm looking for, longer term, right? And it's because sentiment is still mostly bearish. I keep seeing everybody is mostly bearish. Even right now, even on my indicators, you're starting to see this 2 week consistent, this 2 week consistent, push sideways. All we've really been doing is just really, you had a heavy drop once, twice, and then you just kind of traded sideways, right? And again, here, right, when you had this 2 week down here, right, 2 weeks of weak bearish momentum, just sideways trading, then you start a really huge pump, right? And last time we traded sideways like this, we went from 358 straight to 376. So a $20 push, right? A $20 push from here would take us straight to $403, like right there. And at 403, I can definitely see wicks up here, right? But that's not what happened last time. You pushed up and then you pushed up again that second week. So I think next week, depending on how news comes out today and things like that, I think next week we can actually see that $20 push. And then the week after, you might see another 376 to 390. Jesus, like another $15 push. So a total of like a $35 push by the end of mid January 16th or so. So like maybe, and then that would probably take us back to like 417 or something. I'm telling you, I don't know, I have this weird good feeling that everybody else is wrong and that this is actually, the solid bottom of this price movement on SPY. And again, don't trade this, right? I'm just basing this off of gut feeling. And again, as of right now, we can definitely drop a lot lower. And I do think we're going to go lower, especially because the DXY has a gap to fill, right? DXY has this gap to fill right here, right? 104.6 to 104.5, and definitely short today, right? Especially as of right now. Like I'm probably gonna end up doing some big boy shorts on SPX and the Nasdaq just to hedge, but DXY doesn't like gaps, right? DXY doesn't like gaps. Filled this a couple of hours later, right? You had a small gap right here, filled it immediately like 2 hours later. Gap here, you filled it in like 6 hours. Gap here, you filled it in like 2 hours. Gap here, you filled it like 2 days later. Like it's gonna fill this gap. I guarantee you guys, it's gonna fill this gap. So as of right now, you did close a nice bullish entry right here on the hour. So I am definitely gonna be shorting the indices today, especially with news. Chances are that it might be bearish, right? I'm gonna be shorting big up until we close this gap on the SPX. If SPX and the Nasdaq just trade sideways, then I'm gonna close my shorts, right? Because if this goes all the way up and it closes and you have the SPX and the Nasdaq just trade sideways, for the most part, it's just gonna stay like that, right? So I'm definitely gonna be shorting indices and waiting for this gap to get filled, and then I'm out. That's basically it. My target price for SPX and Nasdaq is when this DXY, when this dollar fills that gap, right? So with that being said, this is what usually happens. I showed you guys this video before, right? But this is what usually happens, on, what is it called? On these, I think this is for like CPI or something. I forgot what this is for, but it hasn't been wrong yet, right? If we look at this, right, it's always hit that three mark price. So really, there's three things that can happen after December 15th, which is, I think it was the last CPI. I forgot what it was. FOMC, CPI. I think it was FOMC. By FOMC, right, we're going to be at one of these three prices, where they're going to be at 421, which I actually think we're going to be higher. We're actually going to, from here, we might actually push really hard up and then come down, or we're going to go all the way back down to 351. And I think today might be that trigger, right? TA right now on the daily is definitely looking bearish. All you've been doing on this daily trigger is just trading sideways, right? So really three things that can happen right now, which is absolutely insane. Do I think that by January 23rd, we're going to stay in the middle here at 383? Really don't think so. I think we're going to either moon to 420 or drop to 350 by January 23rd, which would actually be a really good strategy right now for, I think it's called like a strangle or like a straddle, where you basically say that you like buying calls and puts, right? Where you basically say that you do not think it's going to be 383. So I think it's like buying a call and buying a put at 383, because I really don't think the shit's going to trade sideways, right? I really don't think so. I think they're going to moon like crazy to 420 or to 351, right? Because if we use this pattern, right, for every single cycle, it's been the exact same thing. And you've been right for like the last like 10 times or whatever on these cycles. So again, pretty sure this is going to be accurate. As far as what price it's going to be, you never know, right? That's the thing. It's like, I know one of these prices is going to be accurate. I don't know what it's going to be. Again, right? This cycle repeated here, right? This cycle repeated here, right? Back here. This cycle, same one as this one. Again, it's very, very likely that one of these hits. I just don't know which one. Personally, I think it's actually going to be 420. I think we're going to have a surprise to the upside because, we have been just trading sideways on a bunch of bullish and bearish triggers. And I think it's just related to news. But again, if this drops down to 350 by January 23rd, everybody start putting in your bids now because this shit's, we're going to start seeing because, we basically just been trading sideways, right? So the next 2 weeks are going to be ridiculous, right? You're going to see some massive pushes to the upside or to the lower side. So just be very, very careful and make a decision now. With that being said, I'm going to look at Pepsi. First request was Pepsi. Pepsi does look like it's going to come back down. I did not break that high that I wanted it to break. I wanted it to actually go a little bit higher, but it ended up coming back down, possibly because of SPY coming down as well. But as of right now, like I said, you're just trading sideways, man. You're really just trading sideways, which is like the really crazy part, right? Yeah, that's all that's been going on. All you're doing is just trading sideways and you haven't really done much else, right? Like that's kind of it. Like you want to break this zone right here. You want to break these these obvious pushes to the upside above range, above that top channel is just, it's extremely bullish, right? And this is actually the first time you actually have a pretty nice low back here. So anything around this level of like 176 or so, I long Pepsi to the upside, but I wouldn't trade it now because I do think news today is probably going to be that push that we need for the next 2 weeks. So I'd wait till news comes out today. I think that's going to be very important. And I think that can possibly be the push that we need to either side. Either we moon to 420 plus or we drop down to 350. That's really what I'm thinking today. I'm thinking today's news is going to be pretty important. Because by FOMC date, that's when those price targets are going to hit, right? And we'll come back and look at those. As of right now, TA is bearish for Pepsi. So I would short this back down, possibly like 176 or so, but I think you might just trade in range. The weekly, again, right? You close the weekly up here at 183. You're currently down at 179. So the cycle still is bearish as of right now. I wouldn't short this unless you start trading down here at like 175 and you take this all the way down to like 169 or so, right? But even then, you're consistently creating higher highs on Pepsi. So, I mean, again, see, higher high, higher high, higher high, higher high. So, not be surprised if max drawdown, you come back down like here. And then you actually moon and you break that channel. So as of right now, I mean, if I'm looking for a moon price, I would only pick up Pepsi at like 169. In fact, let me just put a trigger now. I'll put an alert, right? Because that's kind of a perfect entry, right? I do think you're going to be starting a new trend to the upside. I think max you push down is 169, and then you come up and you go to that channel, right? That's what I'm looking for. But as of right now, Pepsi, really just trading sideways. I wouldn't touch Pepsi right now until news comes out because it does look like it's going to be trading along with the SPX and the NASDAQ. I think at max, it'll drop down to like 169-ish. And then right there, I would 100% buy calls again for like 3 months out, right? Pepsi is a very, very, very slow mover to the upside. But I think max drawdown is 169. Then you push extremely hard. Or from here, you basically just trade sideways and then you push up as well and you break this channel. That's what I'm thinking for right now for Pepsi. Tesla still looks pretty ugly, right? Tesla looks like there's like a guaranteed like a $90 guarantee. I think that it does look like Tesla's going to keep going down. I would definitely be a buyer at Tesla for $91. There's actually like a secret what is it called? Like a secret play that I'm working on right now. I need a little bit more cash, especially for Tesla. But I think Tesla, again, you're probably going to come back and fill this 122 gap. Tesla doesn't like gaps. So I would definitely see this 122 gap get filled sometime this week, next week. I'd 100% buy calls right now to fill this gap, right? But you are in this consistent downtrend, right? You essentially have an open funnel, right? So this is your channel right now. Right? This is your open channel right now of price. There you go. open channel. I think from here, you keep pushing to the upside, probably wake up, fill this 122, and then drop again to like 99. But as of right now, I do think $91 is almost guaranteed. You have these pretty substantial daily candles on the upper side. You came down, bounced. You sort of came back and retested this. You didn't actually test that resistance, but I do think you're going to come back down to like $90 or so. TA wise, it does look like Tesla is going to come back down to 90. I personally would be looking at buying all this whole area. I think Tesla looks fantastic, especially at these prices. And as of right now, you're starting to get that weak bearish momentum. So I would definitely look, as soon as we get a perfect entry on the weekly, I would definitely look at, looking at loading up on Tesla, because you are what is the highest? 400? You're a 4x away. Tesla at these prices is fantastic. If I could do a 400% on Tesla longer term, that would be amazing, right? And then you have this nice little gap on the weekly to fill at 262. So minimum, that gap is going to get filled at 262 eventually. So at these prices, man, if you're not DCAing or loading up, you're absolutely, crazy, right? On the monthly, look at the monthly, right? Look what happened last time. On the monthly, perfect entry, started mooning. Again, stochastic is at lows. What kind of retrace is this? I'm looking for what kind of fib is this? We're looking at it's like a 0.7 fib. Yeah, 0.786. Yeah, I mean, you're at a nice support here also. So I'd definitely start looking at DCAing already. I think Tesla's at a really good spot to DCA. I think this whole level here is going to be really, really, really good for DCAing and buying shares. Personally, I'm going to do something else with Tesla just because we've sort of maybe found the bottom on Tesla, I think. Especially at like $90. I'm not going to reveal what I'm doing. It's my own personal strategy and I'm not going to give it away, right? I don't want anybody else doing it right now. But yeah, I think as of right now, I think Tesla's looking really good. I would 100% be longing the crap out of Tesla right now. And I know a lot of my Patreon members are already DCAing into shares and buying down here at these levels, or they're buyers at these levels, right? So again, it's all preference, whatever you guys like. Me personally, I think these levels right here are perfect place to add some nice Tesla shares. And it's a perfect addition. So right now, perfect time to DCA. Still looks like it's gonna go down to like $90. Let me put this a little bit lower. There we go. So at least we have that. Whoops, take this off. I think we can have another trend here, right? There's a couple of trends that we need to break. Actually, that's actually more appropriate. There we go. I like that trend better. But again, still under trend. Still think this is going down to $90. This whole area, DCA, right? I think it keeps going down towards like earnings and stuff, but I think maybe earnings would be a surprise. So with that being said, still bullish on everything else. Tesla going down to $90, I think. Pepsi probably trading sideways. I longed the fuck out of Pepsi at 169. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.